mission trip in 2013. We went to Cabo, St. Lucas, and it was a life-changing experience for sure. The mission was, poverty was kind of overwhelming to see how people live. Some plywood and tar paper thrown down on the ground with a couple of 2x4s, that was your house. And to see that was such a shock. And then to be able to help, we were building a kitchen in the barrio. So we worked with a little church to build that building, that kitchen, and people could go and feed the community in the neighborhood around that area. Craig Libby, they'd go out in the country, they'd set up a tent, and they would have diabetes checks and blood sugar. My wife is a nurse, so she was able to help with the medical outreach. So the medical care just comes mostly through volunteers and churches and this types of outreach like that. So the medical part of it's very important. The main thing though was being able to interact with my co-workers and the other people that were on there. I've never hung out with Christians like that before. And I'm like, I want what they got, you know, why are they so happy all the time? You know, they don't this is all this abject poverty and everything, it's terrible. During the mission trip, they asked me to give a testimony, and I realized I didn't really have one. You know, up to that point, my life had been all about me and work and making money and buying stuff and, you know, raising kids and raising a family. Just a typical guy, nothing special. My testimony, I just thought about it and said, I've got to change. I mean, there's so much emptiness in my heart. There was always something inside that it never really felt fulfilled. After that trip, things changed a lot. This is our trip journal and discussion guide, right? It's exploring the point. There's questions in here about where do you stand with God? Boy, it's got some questions in there. Although you read a lot of books, it's like they're telling you stuff. And this one's asking you questions that you really got to think about. This book really asked the pertinent points and was really a help to me to realize some truths. But the mission trip taught me that there's a difference between religion and relationship. During that time, I came to meet Christ and accept Him. Jesus says He makes us a new man, and that's the truth. That's the truth right there. That moment, I started to believe it all changed, and I could feel the overwhelming love of God. It just filled me up, and then it's been on the mountaintop ever since. After the mission trip, when we got back to the country, I want to share what's happened to me. And I think that was a lot of my motivation. I had a friend that did prison ministry work years ago, and that always impressed me. I started out with the Kairos mission. Then I get out there and see this place. 15 miles north of town, the Robertson unit is a maximum security, and those are for the guys with life sentences that are many, many years. And this seemed to me those were the guys that were in most need to hear about Christ. There's just so much loneliness. Being able to go out and just share what happened to me with them means a lot. There's been, I don't know, I don't like to put numbers to it and everything, but there's been hundreds of men that have changed out there. It's not just Sundays, it's every day. Relationship with Jesus is what it's all about. That you've got to do something to serve the Lord. That's where the answer is. He doesn't want us just to say the words and read the books, and even if you had the best philosophy, what good does it do if it's all pent up inside you and you're not sharing it? Real life, what they're doing is so important. I know they serve the communities that they work in and the churches and the pastors and the people, but just for the attendees, the people that go on this, to get out from our culture, get into another culture and see what this world is and the suffering and things that are going on, and to give them a chance to realize that God is everywhere. He's just not in the United States, or He's just not in our hometown, or He's just not in my church, but He is everywhere, especially when He gets in our heart. You know, that's what we're built for. We're created for this.